Just as acid that resides in a vessel corrodes the container, likewise anger corrodes the heart in which it resides. It depresses our immune system. It increases our blood pressure. It can result in cardiac and many other physical afflictions. In the professional environment, when people lash out at their boss, it can result in being dismissed from the job. Anger drives away the best of friends and relatives. This is veritably one of the biggest enemies. So how do we gain a handle over it? The question posed today is, even though I try not to, I find myself getting angry at people and situations again and again. How can I learn to rise beyond this personality defect on the spur of the moment and always? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna has pointed out anger as a gateway to hell. Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanah kamaha krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadetattrayam tyajet. Arjun, says Sri Krishna, there are three gateways to Narak: lust, anger, and greed. That is why by all means reject them. A Japanese story states that a samurai warrior came to a Zen master and said, "Is there truly a heaven and a hell?" The master looked at the warrior's face and said, "What kind of question is that? Your face resembles that of a horse. Who made you a samurai warrior?" His statement infuriated the samurai, who took the sword out of his sheath and screamed, "I will kill you!" The master smiled and said, "That is the gateway to hell." That person's anger was pacified and he realized his mistake, and he put the sword back in the sheath. The master said, "This is the pathway to heaven." Factually, just as acid that resides in a vessel corrodes the container, likewise anger corrodes the heart in which it resides. It depresses our immune system. It increases our blood pressure. It can result in cardiac and many other physical afflictions. In the professional environment, when people lash out at their boss, it can result in being dismissed from the job. Anger is the cause for alienating colleagues, subordinates, and bosses. In relationships, anger drives away the best of friends and relatives. That is why it is said, "Krodhat krodhe kathanute." This is veritably one of the biggest enemies. The only thing to become angry upon is the anger within yourself itself. So how do we gain a handle over it? Well, the first is to delay your response. In the rush of the moment, our right brain, which is responsible for the emotions, is moved to rage. This situation is not to my liking. Why did it happen? If we react immediately, there's a great chance we will vent anger. Instead of that, if we resist the urge for just a minute or even less, it gives time for the left brain to kick in, which is logical and analytical and able to think. Will there be any benefit in giving vent to fury? Maybe it's better to give a more calculated response. That is why the saying, if you speak when you are angry, you will make the biggest speech you will live to regret. Now, people give different techniques for controlling yourself. Somebody says, turn your attention to the breath. Someone else says, take a drink of water. Others say, count 20 under your breath. But the aim is the same, to delay the response in the moment of fury. Second point, anger is the consequence of tamoguna within our mind and body, the mode of ignorance. So we need to be wary we don't eat foods that increase our tamasic pravritti. Now, the animal husbandry industry nowadays is so irresponsible. Take a look at what poultry farmers do. The way they raise chickens causes so much anger in those birds. The chicken are not allowed to run around on the earth and gather their food. They are fed by farmers. This creates anger. They are placed in iron cages so close that they peck at their neighbors, making each other angry. And that is why farmers chop off their beaks that they don't cut and bleed the other birds. Beyond that, the greed of the farmers makes them speed up the egg-laying process. Instead of exposing the chicken to the natural day and night, through artificial light, the process is speeded so that they lay eggs faster. All this increases the anger. And when people eat such chickens, they are eating the anger of the chickens as well. It's just like if you eat a cow affected with the mad cow disease, then you are eating the madness and ingesting it within yourself. The Vedic perspective says we don't only eat diet, but we also take in through all our senses. If you are in conversation with a friend who is repeatedly telling you nasty things, he or she is filling anger into you. If you are reading news that is full of hate, it is enhancing the fury within you. So be careful of the diet you take through all your senses. And finally, from a spiritual perspective, the cause for anger is desire. The Bhagavad Gita states, Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibhrama smriti bhranshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. Sri Krishna has expressed anger as a mental disease and explained the cause of it. Arjun, when you repeatedly contemplate happiness in the objects of the senses, it results in the attachment of the mind. The attachment creates desires for happiness. When these are not fulfilled, it results in an outpouring of the emotion of fury. That anger clouds the intellect, sammohan, which results in a bewilderment of memory, and that creates a ruin of the intellect. When the buddhi is ruined, the soul suffers a downfall. If we wish to prevent it, we must train ourselves that not all desires will be fulfilled. If they are not, learn to remain contented. Does that mean we don't make any desires at all? Definitely not. Let's read about it from my latest book, Questions You Always Wanted to Ask. This is the ultimate anger management strategy. If desires are eased, anger will disappear alongside. But would becoming desireless mean we do not seek any happiness? No. The solution is to seek happiness in beneficial things, to dovetail our desires in the direction of the divine. The Bhagavatam states, Vishayan dhyayataschittam vishayeshu vishajyate mamanusmarataschittam mayyeva pravriliyate. Sri Krishna is saying, you repeatedly thought of the pleasures in the objects of the senses and became attached to them. Now frequently think that God is the ocean of infinite bliss, and you will develop devotion to Him. You will then develop beneficial desires, such as the aspiration to serve and the thirst for divine wisdom. Unlike material desires, these will purify the mind, since the object of attachment is pure. As purity develops, the mind will be less prone to anger. Finally, the day will arrive when we will be totally free from material desires, and then anger will be eradicated from its root.
Celebrate the biggest Diwali festival, DFW Diwali Mela 2023. One combined event of the year for the greater DFW community. Enjoy Ram Leela, Ravan Dahan, Victory Parade, fireworks, cultural performances, kids carnival, laser show and more. Shopping expo, food booths and live concert by Bollywood singers, including the one and only Amit Mishra, Jyotika Tangri, Yazin Nizam, along with the High Octaves Band, and a special Diwali message by Swami Mukundananda. Save the date, Saturday, November 4th from 5 p.m. onwards at the Cotton Bowl Stadium. For tickets, visit radhakrishnattemple.net. Come one, come all to the DFW Diwali Mela 2023.